What if the best parenting advice you ever got didn't come from a book, but from a dad who got peed on at the changing table? You see, every dad has that one moment, that rite of passage that tells you, yep, I'm really in it now. From surprise diaper fails to starting a goofy variety show with his daughter during lockdown, Craig Parks isn't exactly your average dad. He's the kind of father who turns chaos into connection, which I'm pretty sure all of his dads could use. But it's not his background in music or running camps that makes Craig's story so powerful. It's how he teaches everyday dads that you don't need to be a super quote unquote creative kind of person to connect deeply with your kids. You just need to be willing to do the work. Check out Craig's favorite dad story, and then we're going to jump in with our sponsors for 2 minutes, and then we'll jump into the rest of the episode. And guys, you don't want to miss this episode because this episode is equal parts encouragement, practical parenting wisdom, and a call to presence for modern fathers. Let's get into it. All right, Craig, every dad has that story that just, it makes you feel good. And every dad gets it. It doesn't matter what kind of story it is. So what is that smile on your face story that you like to tell?
All right. So this happened a while ago. I have two kids. I've got a 21-year-old son and I've got a 10-year-old daughter. And I think there's that moment in a dad's life when you realize, oh, this is a rite of passage. I'm definitely there. I'm in parenthood now. And when my boy was super young and he was on the changing table, I remember like I went to go get something, like, I don't know, like a diaper or something like down there. And all of a sudden I feel like this like warm, like wet stuff on my neck. And I'm like, what? I turn around and there's this like beautiful arc of urine emanating from his little penis. And I'm like, whoa. And I'm like going to put my hand to cover it. I'm like, wow, I just got peed on by my boy. And like, I'm a dad now, and the lesson learned, like, cover that thing up if you need to go get anything.
You kidding? I started getting PPTPs. Have you seen those?
What's that?
Have you ever seen it's literally like pre-made packaged, and they're these little material cones. They look like a collapsible oil filter you can put over your kid. It's called a PPTP. I literally started giving those as gifts for people.
Oh, that's awesome. I don't know if they had those around 20 years ago.
Right. I don't know if they did 20 years ago, but yeah, like that's become my good friend had a son, and I'd be over, and the first time I saw that, I was like, huh, yeah, you need something for that. He's like, right? You think they make something? So I looked it up and I found that they actually made stuff for it. I was like, woohoo, there you go. So now I give them to people as gifts because I think it's funny. But,
that's awesome. Yeah, I definitely could have used it.
right. I think you're right. That's an absolute rite of passage. I have 2 girls, and guys out there listening, if you're expecting, don't underestimate, because trust me, it will happen even with a girl. You're getting peed on as a dad.
This is like such an amazing public service announcement, this podcast so far. We're only just a couple minutes in.
This is important. Like, this is important info. They need to tell you as a father when you're preparing, because
Yeah.
I'm always amazed at what surprises people.
Yeah. I got to tell you, like, when we were expecting with my son, I was playing racquetball at the time, and there was these like round robins and a lot of locals, and I ended up like, telling this one guy, I was like, hey, I'm about to become a dad. And he's like, hey, listen, I want to tell you something that nobody told me. I'm like, yeah, what is it? He's like, okay, listen up. When your kid is actually born, the moment they're born, there's a good chance they're going to be purple. He's like, and nobody told me this. And so my kid was purple, and I freaked out. Like, and if that happens for you, I just want you to be prepared. And so boom, my son is born and he comes out purple. And I did not freak out. And I got to tell you something. I would have completely freaked out if that dad had not told me that. I'm like, man, the more us dads can just share with each other, like, these kinds of things, so that we don't have to like learn the hard way. That's a beautiful thing.
Right? All the things they don't tell you. I've done a couple episodes on my other show about all the things they don't, that you actually really need to know for the expectant dad. Is one of the popular episodes. We have a whole lot of things like that, and like, you don't need all that fancy crap they keep trying to sell you. Really, You need this, this, and this. You're good. Just the rest of it's all fluff. But yeah.
Yeah, well, with when the pandemic hit, and we're all in lockdown, um, I was like I was going a little stir crazy very very quickly, and I ended up turning to my daughter who was 5 years old at the time, and I'm like, hey, you want to do a show with me? And she's like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, okay. So we created this variety show, this family variety show with comedy and music and activities. And at the time when we first were in lockdown, everybody thought it was going to be like a month. And so it was on Facebook Live. It was called Parks Party Central, and whoever showed up live with us, we would do interactive games. It was just a blast. And but then it became apparent that wow, this is going to be longer than a month. I'm like, how am I going to create a show every week? We ended up doing 70 episodes. And the coolest thing about it, and I'm reminded of this because of what you just said, is that when we were hanging out at home during lockdown, the funniest things would happen. And we would just do silly, crazy things. And we'd be like, let's put that on the show. And it was just, and you didn't need fancy toys. You didn't need all sorts of contraptions. It was like, there was so much just creative kind of bliss that was going on. And that's something that I really want parents and dads to know too, is that man, you don't have to go out and like spend a zillion dollars. Like if you're just present with your kid and you're willing to be a little silly and goofy, man, it's like sky is the limit in terms of the joy and connection you can have with your kids.
Mike Lindell and My Pillow employees want to thank my listeners for all of your continued support. Mike has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of their life. He didn't stop just by creating the best pillow, but he also created the best bed sheets ever. Mike is offering this incredible deal on his Percal bed sheets. You can get a set for as low as $24.98. We have them right here in the house as well. The MyPillow Percal sheets are breathable and have a cool, crisp feel. They're great, especially for the warm weather. And they have deep pockets to fit over any mattress. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for me, which is crucial with my busy schedule. Also, for a limited time, when you order over $100, you'll receive $100 in free digital gifts. So go to mypillow.com and use promo code TFM to receive the MyPillow Percal sheets for as low as $24.98. Order now. When they're gone, guys. Or call 1-800-796-9775 and use promo code TFM. Welcome to the Dad Hat Shenanigans podcast, the unfiltered truth about being a dad. Real dads, real stories, unfiltered, candid conversations on fatherhood. I'm your host, Brent Allen, and today my special guest is Craig Parks. Craig, welcome to the Dad Hat Shenanigans podcast.
Thanks. It is a pleasure to be with you, Brent.
Now, Craig, earlier you told us you have two kids.
I do.
You said we're talking pandemic, so how far apart are they here?
They're pretty far apart. I've got a 21-year-old son and I've got a 10-year-old daughter. And the reason why we had such a wide gap is because our son, amazing kid, is on the autism spectrum and dealing with the kind of the shock, surprise, and all that comes with that a diagnosis. It was quite the journey, and it took, I think, a lot more of our emotional and spiritual and financial resources than maybe we had been expecting. And there was definitely a little bit of fear of like, do we want to do this again? And thank God, eventually we're like, yes, because I want my son to have a sibling, and I'm just really, really glad that he's got a younger sister, and his younger sister is freaking hilarious and is such a joy. So I really, really grateful. But I know, having a 10.5-year gap between siblings is not the most normal thing to do.
Normal is a really overplayed thought. I swear.
Yeah.
Like, we throw the term normal around all the time, but it's like, really? Let's look at that for a minute and define what we think is normal. Right? There are definitely minuses to having your kids further apart or having them close together. I've heard the arguments both ways, right? My older brother is 7 years older than I am, 7.5. And there were some real big bonuses to having a brother that was that much older than me. There were a few things that detracted, he was off and running about the time I decided I got interesting, which was about 6th grade. He left for the Navy. Well, I mean, I have years of working with teenagers. Honestly, those are the most interesting ages to me because you really get to see kids start to come into their own and figure out who they're going to
Yeah.
be. And uh, so it's like, about the time I went from fifth grade to sixth grade and started becoming a more interesting human being, he left. And so I missed that time with him. But, there's normal's setting on your washer. It's pointless, right?
That's true. That's true.
Now, Craig, what is it you do? Like, go ahead and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're about before we get into this conversation.
Sure, yeah. Um, I am, well, I'm a dad, as you know, and I'm somebody who I just really want to make a difference in this world. And so what I've done with most of my adult life is working with kids. And I've founded 2 summer camps, and I've worked with teenagers, and I'm also a professional musician, and I've done a ton of music with little babies and toddlers and kids. I've also run teen bands, and I'm also on my own rock bands, and I've been in, I've toured and I've recorded and all different stuff like that. And then I recently founded Parenting Harmony, because I really I've taken all this experience working with kids, but also having my own 2 kids, right? And especially having one on the autism spectrum and working with so many specialists. I About 5-6 years ago, I decided I really wanted to help other parents navigate this journey because I want it to be less overwhelming and less stressful, for everybody's good. And I want it to be way more joyful. I want there to just be more joy and more deeper connection so that children can learn to trust themselves, trust their parents, and parents can learn how to really just dive into connection in a beautiful, joyful way, and really create a childhood that is filled with memories that are positive, and our kids will be able to look back and go, man, so many good times with my folks.
I like it. I like it. I have my oldest niece has Asperger's. She's on the spectrum, and we all got a crash course. She was, I think, 7 before she was diagnosed, maybe 8, because it presents so differently in little girls as opposed to little boys. And so we all got this crash course, and it's like, okay, what does life look like through her eyes? How does she see the world? How do we better connect with her in a way that is encouraging to her and helps her to where she thrives, right? Very, very, very passionate about that. I've done a couple episodes on neurodivergent kids and parenting neurodivergent kids, actually on my other show. And so I have a great deal of love for parents who are traversing that road because, like, some of our best friends, he is deeply on the autism spectrum. She is in the neurodivergent spectrum. 2 of their 4 children are both fully in the autism spectrum. And if you guys listening aren't familiar, like when we say the autism spectrum, that's a really, like, neurodivergent is a wide term, and one person doesn't look like the other person necessarily. It's such a broad term to use, but like their household is very exciting because 4 out of the 6 people who live there, and probably 5, are on the spectrum in different places on the spectrum. So life is
Yeah.
really exciting there. We have a lot of fun with them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a saying, I don't know if you've heard this in the autism community, of like, well, if you've met one person on the autism community, you've met one person in the autism
Right.
community, right?
My friend
Yeah.
Neuro Spicy, that's her favorite term. She's like,
I like that.
Neuro Spicy. All right, I'm down with that. No, Craig, you're wearing a great hat, and you're a musician. What is it about musicians and good taste in hats? You're wearing a great hat today. So what's the dad hat story? What's this hat about?
Well, I'll tell you, Brent, this hat is it's multi-layered. It's we're gonna go into some depth here, my friend. Because if you think like this hat, first of all, it's tie-dyed. Okay. So, us musicians, we tend to like the hippy dippy, tie-dye thing. That's going on. Um, but it was made at camp, right? And so I'm a longtime camp director, and getting to actually create a camp from scratch is such a cool, unique thing. I mean, not a lot of people get to just create camps from scratch, and then getting to have both my kids grow up in the camp that I ran. It was like such a joyful, amazing experience. So this hat represents camp, all the kids I work with, having my own children get to be part of this loving, sweet, joyful, silly, ridiculous, beautiful environment as well, and creativity. And the thing about tie-dye is that you're never going to get the same one every time, and there's no way to screw it up, right? It's like, it's not like, oh, that wasn't bad. It's like, no, like they're all great and they're all different and they're all unique. So when I was looking through all the hats, I was like, what are we gonna? And I was like, yeah, this is the one. This is the one for the podcast.
I like it. And you know what? Thank you for breaking the barrier, because when I was reading your profile and saw you were a musician and was looking into some of your posts, I committed to myself. It's like, okay, I'm not going to use the term hippy dippy.
And here I am, totally using it.
You shattered the barrier on that, so thank you. That's
sometimes you just got to own it. Sometimes you just got to own it.
Right. I told my wife when I was decided I was going to do this show, I told her my image and idea for this, right, and about the hat, and she loved the concept. And then I got a red bowler hat. She's like, but why? But why? I was like, because sometimes you just gotta like throw it out there and let it go, man.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something, Brent. You own it, and you are. I mean, you're rocking the bowler hat. I'll just tell you that you were totally rocking it.
I love bowler hats. I don't know why.
And I think that there's a chance that you could become kind of the spokesperson for like Travelers Insurance too. It just seems like,
That's fair. I don't know what it is. Like, I've always had this like bowler hats, man. The first time I ever saw was Son of Man, aka the Faceless Man in a bowler hat portrait. I was like, I don't know why, but I love it. I like the image.
It works,
right?
You can't argue with success.
One of these days, right, I'm gonna like do some deep reflection and try and figure out why I like bowler hats. I don't know why, but I super love this one. The trick is getting me to not wear out of the house now. My children are like, you should wear it everywhere we go, Dad. I'm like, thinking about it. My wife's like, no. So that may stay in the studio for now, but I have so many.
I just want to say, I think that there's a lot of men who are listening to this who can totally relate to the kids are being like, yeah, that's rad, and the wife going, mm-mm.
Well, so you guys don't see it because on these videos I have my hat on. You don't see the mohawk.
Oh, yes.
Mohawk. Yes. This is my children. my daughters picked out this hairstyle.
That is awesome. Yeah, like I could do it. I got the reverse, except it would be like the bald spot thing going on. So
yeah. It just started getting longer. So instead of spiking, I started French braiding it back. But yeah, this is because I have two daughters. I also have like teal toenails right now because I have two daughters. So,
it's
right?
Man, just when I thought I couldn't love you anymore, you bust out with that.
Right? Mohawk and painted toenails. I'm a girl dad. It's right.
Clearly.
Craig, what's the best part about being a dad?
Well, I think the best part about being alive is the experience of love, both giving and receiving love. And man, being a parent, man, and the depth of what it is to feel that love for your child. And I mean, it's extraordinary just to feel that is really, really special. So that's the best thing, is to actually have the truest experience of love.
Okay. I love it. And that's the best part about being a dad, for sure.
Yeah. And then like how that love gets expressed is, we were talking about how, people on the autism spectrum, they're all unique. I mean, we all are, all of us human beings. Right. And so when you get to then express that love in different ways with your kids, because like my son he's an amazing musician, right? And so we play music together. And like, that's one of the best things that I get to do as a dad is actually my son is on drums and I'm rocking out on guitar and we are just going. Right. And doing Parks Party Central, doing something creative with my daughter and my daughter's a musician too. She sings and she plays piano, like playing music and creating a show where we did 70 episodes. Like the creative process with our children, like such an amazing thing. So, like the way love gets expressed is like, that's more particular rather than the global view so if that helps in terms of that answer.
I got to ask, like, you got a whole band going. Does your wife play?
She does not, but she does enjoy listening. Yeah, in fact, on YouTube, before the pandemic, when my son was, I don't know, maybe around 13 or so, we started this project called Parks and Pals. And we ended up doing 5 or 6 episodes. But when the pandemic hit, we stopped. But the concept was we were going to do a #1 hit song from every year starting in 1958. And we wanted to get up to the modern times. And in every episode, it would be a different group of musicians who were playing with my son and I. And so, like I said, we ended up getting up to, I think, 1963 or 1964, maybe. So if anybody's curious, you could see. But you'll see my son is like, and he's really, really wonderful musician. And that's something I love celebrating is his special gifts.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and even the Parks Party Central, I did put 3 of the episodes on on YouTube as well. So you go to Parks Party Central, you could see the silliness that my daughter and I did. And I'm actually about to come out with a book called the Parks Party Central Parent-Child Activity Book, 25 screen-free, ridiculously silly things that parents can do with their kids. And then in the book, they can click on a link and they'll be able to see a clip from the show of my daughter and I actually doing the silly activities.
That's awesome because we need more parents doing things off screen.
Yeah.
The YouTube, Rumble, and audio show guys, but less screen time. Like,
yeah.
I feel tremendously ironic and hypocritical at the same time how often I tell people to get off their devices based on what I do for a living. But you know what? It's like really, I would be absolutely thrilled if people stopped listening to my shows because they were busy doing things to other kids. I'm absolutely okay with that trade-off. 100%.
Yeah, I think the prescription though, Brent, is that they should be on a screen about an hour a day to listen to one podcast of yours a day, and then the rest of the time, really like utilize the information and just like be present with their kids. There you go.
There we go. There's a nice happy medium. Now, Craig, we're gonna talk about parenting today, right? Because it's a dad show, right? But you have a methodology you call the parenting A to D method. Is that right?
A to E.
Oh, A to E. Sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. A to E method. See, I knew I'd screw something up at least once during the show. But hey, that's like a 99% average. I only screw up one thing. Good.
Yeah. And D is very close to E. I mean, they're neighbors in the alphabet,
Yeah, pretty close. And usually it's somebody's name. I usually hose a name pretty bad. That seems to be my Achilles heel. I can pronounce all kinds of things. And when it comes to names, I'm just like, so tell us what is this parenting A to D or A to E method?
All right. So, when you boil it down to like what life is, all we've got here is we got these bodies we move around with and we got our voices, and that's our tools. Like that's what we have to work with. And so the A stands for affect. And simply what our affect is the physical manifestations of how we use our body and our voice. And so when we understand how to actually get control and command of our bodies, the totality of our bodies and our voices, how we can use our voice to maximize connection, parenting, actually, we can then get to the E, which is effectiveness. And if we want to be effective in having a trusting, loving, joyful connection and relationship with our children, then we have to master the A, the affect. And so in the course that I have that's available, actually the first module of the course is teaching how to use the body, how can you use your hands and your fingers, your shoulders. So our shoulders will communicate things. How do you use your facial expressions? And then the whole thing around our voice, right? The pitch, the speed, the types of words that we use. And you were talking about like just reading books. There's a million ways to read a book to a kid, right? You could sit there in monotone voice, or you could like take on like character voices, right? And these are the types of things that are going to make an impact in our relationship, how our kids feel around us, right? And so that's what the methodology is all about. And then the second module is music, as you know.
Before you get there, I got to ask.
Okay.
Just a point of clarity here to help us get this in our head better. When
Yeah.
you say using your body, right? My brain immediately went to shoot, because I'm calling out his name. I'm going to mess it up. Oh, I can see him in my head. Oh, this is so embarrassing. The guy from Mary Poppins, the actor.
Oh, Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke, right? That's exactly where my head went when you started talking about use your body to communicate. Because I thought of that old physical comedy that some of the great actors had. Right, that man was a master.
Yes,
communicating with every bit of him. So is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's part of what I'm talking about, without a doubt. And actually, one of my all-time favorite comedians, Steve Martin, back when he was doing his stand-up.
Yeah,
I mean, he was so just crazy with all of his body and his voice too. Like if you study these men, right, you'll see like how are they creating this, and it's basically they're using their tool, their body and their voice. And that's what I want parents to understand, is that, because parents will be like, well, Craig, you run a camp, you do music with kids, like you've got all this charisma. I'm like, if you boil down what charisma is, it's just how we're using our body and our voice, and it's teachable, and anybody can do it. So, and it's not just like wild craziness too. It's here's an example, a really powerful one that I know a lot of parents have said, who've done my course, have said, this is one of the most powerful lessons they ever learned. And that is simply just lowering your body to your child so that your eye level has made all of the difference in terms of cooperation and trust. Instead of screaming across the room, and when your kid is not listening, and when you've said, 8 times, I need you to pick this up, or whatever it is, if you actually just go and you physically lower your body and get eye level and get close and like maybe hold their hands, hey, sweetie, I really need you to do this right now. Like your level of cooperation is going to go up so much. And then on the other hand, like if you think about being like, 4 feet tall or 3'2", you're being a little dude. And I mean, imagine if you walked out your door every day and every person you met was like 8'7", right? It would be really intimidating. And if we as adults remember that, and we understand how to utilize our bodies to have our kids actually feel more trusting and safe, like, and that's just one of many, many examples, so that when parents learn these techniques, they're going to realize, oh, wow, I'm communicating so much to my kids in subtle ways that we're not even aware of. Well, my job is, let's become aware of it and actually use it to actually lower our overwhelm and stress as parents and maximize our joy and connection.
Man, the longer we talk, the more I think we're related somehow, because I am the biggest advocate when I talk to dads of getting down eye to eye with your kid. Like, get on the floor, get down on the knee, whatever, get face to face with your children when you communicate with them. And it makes such a huge difference in your relationship with your kids. I tell dads that all the time. Like I will get down on my belly on the floor if I need to get right here where we're right here together, because this is together. This is in charge and in command. This is together, which is hard for men because men prefer to communicate side by side. Women are much better at communicating face to face. Men prefer to communicate side by side, technically. So it's a big jump for a lot of dads, but dads, this is such a power move as a father to connect with your child. Sorry, I got us way off track. So we're on to B, right? We went from affect.
Well, no, so it's just the A is understanding, just mastering your affect, and then so when you understand that, then it's like, okay, well, how am I going to use that? And so the other part of my course is that is turning the mundane of everyday parenting into memorable things, because we can take our kids to Disneyland and they will remember that, but I mean, let's get real. Most of parenting is not the day at Disneyland. Most of it is waking them up, making sure they're eating, making sure they're taking a bath, bedtime, making sure they're washing their hands, those types of things. So my whole deal is, how do you make that stuff awesome? How do you make that stuff memorable? And so music is one of the most powerful memory making devices we human beings have at our disposal. And I wrote all these songs for bath time, for bedtime, for washing hands, and I realized, wow, like my kids and campers I've had too, they all remember this. And I had a really powerful experience several years ago when I was thinking back on my first grade year. Now, very few of us will remember what happened to us in first grade on October 23rd, on that Tuesday. Like, we just won't remember that. But my first grade teacher did something at the end of every day of first grade. She sang the same song every day. And I realized, like, I'm now in my 50s. I'm like, I still remember that song because, one, it was music. Two, she did it ritualistically. And right? And it was like, goodbye, everybody. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So I still remember this melody. And I was like, okay, if we understand the power of that, we as parents can use rituals, and we as parents can use music to create really deeply embedded, beautiful, joyful, connecting memories. And so the second part of my course is all these easy songs that I want parents to be able to use ritualistically to create just a ton of really fun, beautiful memories. And then the third module is these 10 activities that are screen free that parents can do with their kids, but understand, like, do this with full affect, like know how to use your body and voice so that you could just dig into all the joy that is waiting for you in the parenting journey.
So I'm going through. That sigh is me going through. I'm listening in my head because I know right now there are dads going, yeah, you two are crazy. And this is like, you do this and you do camps and you're a musician and you're a YouTube nitwit with a red hat. I mean, right. You guys are that creative. I'm not that creative person. I'm not this entertaining musician, or right. I can hear those pushbacks because I know so many dads who are like, yeah, no, right.
Right. So I'm curious, Brent, like, what do you say to that parent? And I'll let you know what I would say to that parent.
I say everybody has a creative side they don't understand, and it's just different than a creative side than what you're seeing, right? You're saying, we're gonna sing songs and we're gonna do this, and I'm saying, I have like my daughters and I have our own subtle communication. This just like this moment of silliness where they'll be homeschooling, right? And I'll peek around the corner out of my office, just like my eye just barely past the door where I can see my oldest daughter. And I'll stand there and wait till she happens to look up, and I'll just like raise my eyebrow, I'm like, what's up? Right. And it totally disrupts her flow of the moment. But it's that reminder of dad's there, dad's paying attention to me, dad's aware of what's happening, right? And I know every man doesn't want to admit this, but we all have that silly side. The side when nobody is home that cranks up the radio and is busting out that 80s hair band music at the top of our lungs and doing air guitar. And gentlemen, it's time to bring that out with your kids. Let them see that side of you. My kids look at me all the time and give me weird looks. It's like just randomly, like we'll be driving in the car. I just start making weird noises. I'm like, "Meep, meep, whoop, whoop, whoop." I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, I have no idea, but I'm doing it. And every guy, like, it's in you. And we're taught to like fold that in because people are going to think we're weird. And the things we only do when we're driving in the car because nobody's with it. Dads, bring it out. Your kids are going to love it. You're going to get those eye rolls at certain ages. Like a 13-year-old now. So I get those eye rolls now. And I love them.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I crack a bad dad joke. And my daughter's like, really? I'm like, oh yeah. And there's more coming, you know. Your kids will.
Yeah, no, that's great. And what I would say to those dads too is that, because they look at us and be like, yeah, you're the goofy, silly guys, and that's not me. And I'm saying you're creating whether you think you're creating or not creating. You're creative whether you want to be or not. Like we're always creating something. So if we can get intentional about what we want to create, then we could learn these things. Like those little sounds you just made, Brent. Like any man can go woo woo woo, nah, 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 like anybody can do that, right? And so it's not like you're special because you can do that and nobody. And that's what I'm trying to teach, and that's what I teach in my course is that actually, if there's any guy could do the silly nose tongue trick, where it's like, are you willing to, and are you committed to having, what kind of relationship are you actually committing to having with your child? And so are you willing to do some things, steps outside of maybe your comfort zone, but realize your 2-year-old and your 3-year-old and your 4-year-old are not sitting there judging you. In fact, I do music with every age group, literally from babies to senior citizens. And when I'm in front of a group of preschoolers, it's my favorite because they challenge me to see how over the top silly I can be, because they just are digging into it, right? They're not judging it. They're not like, right. But then you'll get to the age, right, developmentally, where like the 8-year-old and the 9-year-old is gonna be like, oh, God, Dad, that's so lame, or and like the eye rolls, right? And that's right because you got the silly dad stuff. But even when they're that age, they're kind of digging it too, because they want that invitation to know that, okay, I'm always going to be able to be silly too. I mean, I don't know about you, but like, my dad's amazing. And he was a really, really hardworking man, often 7 days a week. I did not get the kind of time with him I would have liked. In that generation, it was like the way it's like you worked your ass off and you supported your family, and he was often stressed, and I remember kind of as a kid, kind of fearing growing up because it didn't look like it was fun to be an adult. And so we have an opportunity to show our kids that, hey, being an adult is actually really fun and awesome. Like you don't have to fear growing up. And when we show them that part of ourselves, it helps in that process a lot.
I think more dads need to just get in the backyard and dig mud pies with your kids. Like,
yeah. And that's why I created this parenting A to E course, because it's like, this is for the parent who thinks they can't do it. It's like, I've broken it down so that you know exactly what to do. And why I'm coming out with this book, the Parts Party Central Parent Activity Book, 25 screen-free activities. And they're all silly and ridiculous, and you don't need to go out and buy anything. And it's just really fun. And I will tell you, you will feel more deeply connected with your children when you play with them and when you are silly with them and when you are present with them.
oh, absolutely. Gentlemen, if your relationships are not where you want them to be, I want you to know I got you. Relationships take a lot of work and can fall on the back burner pretty easily as you're empire building in your life. Men often suffer from damage to their relationships while they're trying to provide because they're so busy trying to provide, just kind of everything gets left on the back burner. So reach out and schedule your free discovery call at purposedrivenmen.com to learn the skills you need to connect deeply with the people who matter most in your life. So I've got to ask, because you broke the hippy dippy barrier and you got the great big blue bucket hat. So What is your best dad joke? Because I expect a pretty good one from you. I just got to say. You said-
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna give you. So the dad jokes of dad jokes are knock knock jokes, right? And so I've created quite a few of my own knock knock jokes over time, but I'm gonna give you the one that I am most proud of. All right. So let's say you're hanging out with your family or your friends, like everybody there knows each other, right? All right. So now I'm gonna set up. So, all right, Brent. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Who's?
Who's?
No, no. When somebody does a knock knock show, like it's you would say who's who, right? So yeah, so we'll try it again. All right, and take two. You'll edit this part out. All right.
Sorry. Diane. I broke the joke.
All right. So here we go. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Who's?
Who? I don't know knock knock jokes. I'm bad at it.
As a dad, you're gonna have to get the format of the knock knock joke down.
My 13-year-old got me this because she knew I needed the help. So she got me a dad joke book when I started the show.
All right. So
like, you need this more.
Let me give you a little primer on the knock knock joke. So
Okay.
if someone says knock knock and you can say who's there, let's say I go boo. You would say
Boo-hoo.
yeah, and I'd be like, oh, don't cry, it's gonna be okay, right? But you said boo hoo. So the whatever somebody says, you then say that word and you go who.
Oh, okay.
All right. So here we go. Take 4. Here we go. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Who's?
Who's who?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Well, that's Mom over there. That's your sister Teresa, and that's Grandpa Joey over there. I'm so glad you asked, but I thought you knew them, but but thanks for asking. I want you to feel comfortable asking me any question. So there you go. There's a bad dad knock knock joke.
Okay, so after we finish recording this, I'm going to walk out into my living room out of my studio here and try this on my 13-year-old and try not to totally blow it like I did on the show and see if it's actually funny. Because all
right, it worked.
I'm good with puns.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, so that's a really ridiculous, silly knock knock joke, especially if you're with a group of people who all know each other really well. Because like, who's who? It's like, oh, I thought you knew, but all right, well, that's so and so, and that's so and so.
I'm like I said, I'm bad with it. My daughter's like, yeah, it's not your strong point, Dad. Dad jokes are one of those really funny things to me because there's such a breadth of dad jokes. Not our classic, but so many dad jokes are in the moment kind of puns as well, where someone says something, like twist it just a little bit, and they're like, kind of. Ones I read this year was, like I said, I read a lot of dad jokes now for the show. It's what let's see if I can say it right. What do you call it when Batman doesn't go to church?
What's that?
Christian Bale.
Wow, that's good. That's a good one.
I looked that one up on the internet because I'm not that funny. But
no, that is a good one. I love it.
Where is the best place for people to connect with you, Craig?
Well, they can write to me directly at craigparks@parentingharmony.com. They can go to parentingharmony.com as well to check out my site if they're interested in my course. The book is going to be coming out later this month, which I'm really, really excited about. Like for parents to have 25 activities that are just easy, silly. They can actually click on it, watch how it's actually done. So I'm on Instagram, Parenting Harmony. I'm on TikTok, Parenting Harmony #1, where every day I'm on there just giving parenting value just to help parents. So there's a lot of ways to get in touch with me. And then on YouTube, they can check out Parks Party Central. I have a few episodes up there. And again, on YouTube, Parks and Pals, if they want to see my son and I playing a little bit of music together too. So a lot of different ways to get in touch. And I hope that they do. And if anybody is listening to this podcast that wants to get the course, the Parenting A to E full course, write to me and I will give you a significant discount on the course so that I can, if the financial part of it is a hardship for you, we'll make it work. So just write to me and let me know, because if it's something you want to do, I just want to support parents out there, and especially dads who really struggle with maybe, letting loose a little bit.
Thank you for that offer. Guys, we're going to have all of Craig's connection stuff down in the show notes or on the YouTube description or whatever of the many platforms this show is on. Posting day is always fun because until they get all the places. Craig, if they heard nothing else, what do you want the dads to hear today?
I want you to know that there's actually nothing more important in your life than that relationship that you have with your children. Like, your job is important, everything else, like there's a lot of important things, but if we want our world to actually work better, then the more we can love up our kids really well, that's what we need to do. And then the other thing I want dads to know is this, that we dads are often going, and we're just like striving, and we're ambitious, and we're working, and we're trying to balance the home life. A lot of us dads are not actually taking care of our well-being. And so the way we actually can show up for our kids the best is if we make sure we actually are getting enough sleep, and we're eating well, we're exercising, and we're like talking to friends and doing the things that actually, or meditating or whatever it is that has us feel like, okay, I'm being fed too. It isn't just like giving all the time, but like there's got to be balance, and taking care of our well-being is not a selfish thing to do. It's actually a way that we make sure that we can show up less stressed and more peaceful and more joyful.
Guys, for Craig and myself, thanks for joining us today on the Dad Hat Shenanigans podcast, a community of dads navigating life's challenges together. Until next time, laugh, learn, and live the dad life.